What if I told you? A bunch of things people say with full confidence are completely wrong. Some of the most common facts we grow up hearing aren't facts at all. They're myths that somehow survived for decades. And the weirdest part, a lot of people still believe them. Today, we're busting 20 common myths people still believe, from health myths to science myths, to the random stuff your parents probably told you as a kid. One goldfish only have a 3-second memory. This one refuses to die. A lot of people think goldfish forget everything almost instantly. But that's just not true. Goldfish can actually learn patterns, remember routes, and even be trained to respond to feeding times and signals. Some experiments have shown they can retain information for weeks or even months. So no, your goldfish is not living in a constant state of confusion. It may not be doing your taxes, but it definitely remembers more than 3 seconds. 2. Shaving makes hair grow back thicker. This myth is unbelievably common. People swear that if you shave your legs, face, or arms, the hair grows back darker, thicker, and faster. But shaving doesn't change the hair follicle at all. What actually happens is the razor cuts the hair bluntly. So when it grows back, it feels rougher and may look darker at first. It's basically a visual illusion. Shaving changes the hair's tip, not its growth rate, thickness, or color. 3. Swallowing gum stays in your stomach for 7 years. You probably heard this as a kid right after swallowing gum and immediately panicking. Good news! It does not sit in your stomach for 7 years like some cursed wad of rubber. Your body can't digest gum very well, but in most cases, it simply passes through your digestive system and exits normally. So no, you are not slowly becoming part chewing gum, unless you're swallowing huge amounts constantly, which, honestly, why? For we only use 10% of our brains. This is one of the most famous myths ever, and it sounds just believable enough to stick. But brain imaging has shown that we use many different regions of the brain, even during simple tasks or while resting. Now, that doesn't mean every part is firing at maximum power all the time. But the idea that 90% of your brain is just sitting there doing nothing. Completely false. If that were true, evolution really dropped the ball. 5. Cracking your knuckles causes arthritis. This is one of those myths passed down with the confidence of ancient wisdom. But research has not shown a clear link between knuckle cracking and arthritis. That popping sound is mostly caused by changes in pressure and gas bubbles in the joint fluid, not your bones grinding into dust. Now, can constant aggressive cracking irritate your hands or reduce grip strength in some cases? Maybe. But arthritis? That claim doesn't really hold up. 6. Going outside with wet hair gives you a cold. This one sounds logical. But it's wrong. You do not catch colds from being cold. You catch colds from viruses. Now yes, cold weather can influence how viruses spread, and people do spend more time indoors around each other in winter. But walking outside with damp hair doesn't magically summon a cold into your body. It might make you uncomfortable. It might make you regret your life choices, but it doesn't directly infect you. 7. Sugar makes kids hyper. This myth is so widespread that people act like it's settled science. But controlled studies have repeatedly found that sugar itself doesn't reliably cause hyperactivity in most kids. A lot of the time, what people are noticing is the environment. Think about where kids usually eat a ton of sugar: birthday parties, holidays, school events, sleepovers. In other words, places where they were going to lose their minds anyway. So sugar may be guilty of many things. But this one's shakier than people think. 8. Reading in dim light ruins your eyesight. Parents have been saying this for generations. But reading in low light doesn't permanently damage your eyes. What it can do is cause eye strain, fatigue, or temporary discomfort, especially if you're staring for a long time. So yes, it can make your eyes feel tired. But no, you are not speedrunning blindness by reading under a blanket with a flashlight. 9. You need to drink exactly 8 glasses of water a day. This is one of those health facts that got repeated so often it became law in people's minds. But hydration isn't that simple. The amount of water you need depends on your body size, activity level, climate, diet, and even your health. And a lot of your fluid intake comes from food and other drinks too, not just plain water. So if you're forcing down glass number 8 while your body is begging you to stop, you can relax. That number is more of a rough guideline than a universal rule. 10. The tongue has separate taste zones. You've probably seen that old classroom diagram showing sweet at the tip, bitter at the back, salty on the sides. Yeah, that's basically fake. Your tongue does not have strict little flavor neighborhoods. Different taste receptors are spread across the tongue, and most regions can detect multiple tastes. So if you ever saw that chart in school, congratulations! You were lied to by educational clip art. 11. Hair and nails keep growing after death. This one sounds horrifying enough that people just accept it. But no, your hair and nails do not keep growing after death. What actually happens is the skin dehydrates and shrinks, which can make hair and nails appear longer. So it's not post-mortem beauty growth. It's basically just a creepy optical illusion. 12. You can sweat out a cold or fever. People love the idea that if you just bundle up, suffer enough, and become a human furnace, you'll somehow cook the illness out of your body. That's not really how it works. Sweating doesn't remove the virus causing your cold. And with a fever, overheating yourself can actually make you feel worse. Rest, fluids, and appropriate care. Helpful, turning yourself into a baked potato. Less helpful. 13. Snoring is harmless. A lot of people treat snoring like it's just funny background noise. And sometimes it is harmless, but not always. Snoring can be a sign of sleep apnea, a condition where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep, that can seriously affect sleep quality and overall health. So if someone snores loudly, gasps in their sleep, or is constantly exhausted during the day, that's not always just snoring. It might be a real medical issue. 14. You can fully catch up on lost sleep. This myth is dangerous because people build their whole lifestyle around it. Yeah, I only slept for hours all week, but I'll fix it on Sunday, unfortunately. That's not really how sleep works. Sleeping in may help you feel a little better short term, but it doesn't magically erase the effects of chronic sleep deprivation. So no, your Sunday nap is not a factory reset. 15. Sleepwalkers should never be woken up. This one gets repeated like it's some kind of emergency rule. But waking a sleepwalker won't kill them or break their brain. The real issue is that they may be confused, disoriented, or even startled. So the better advice is to guide them safely if possible rather than abruptly shaking them awake. The myth makes it sound like they'll explode if you speak to them. They won't. But safety matters, because sleepwalking can absolutely lead to injuries. 16. Coffee sobers you up. This one has probably caused more bad decisions than we'd like to admit. Coffee can make you feel more awake, but it does not sober you up. It doesn't speed up how fast your body processes alcohol. It doesn't restore coordination, and it definitely doesn't make you safe to drive. So if someone says, "I'm good, I had a coffee," that is not science, that is denial with caffeine. 17. Natural means safe. This myth is everywhere now. People hear natural and immediately assume it must be healthier, cleaner, safer, or better. But arsenic is natural. Poison ivy is natural. That argument falls apart pretty fast. Some herbs and supplements can interact with medications, cause side effects, or simply not do what they claim. So natural is not a safety guarantee. It's a marketing word. 18. Gum is always bad for your teeth. This one's only half true. Sugary gum. Sure, not ideal, but sugar-free gum, especially after meals, can actually help by increasing saliva, which supports oral health. So chewing gum isn't automatically evil. Some gum is bad for your teeth. Some gum is weirdly helpful. 19. Thin automatically means healthy. This is one of the most misleading myths out there. A person can be thin and unhealthy. A person can be bigger and still have healthy habits and good markers in many areas. Health is way more complicated than appearance. Things like sleep, movement, nutrition, stress, and medical risk factors matter a lot more than just looking a certain way. This myth sticks because people confuse looks healthy with is healthy, and those are not the same thing. 20. If something has been repeated forever, it must be true. And honestly, this might be the biggest myth of all. A lot of beliefs survive not because they're accurate, but because they're simple, catchy, and passed around 4 generations. Some start as misunderstandings. Some come from outdated science. Some are just things people keep saying because no one ever bothered to check. And that's kind of terrifying, because once you realize how many obvious truths are actually false, you start wondering what else people still believe for no reason. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and stick around for more weird facts, hidden truths, and things people confidently get wrong every day.